ใช่ครับ
So opening the Tibo Sphere 2 and being greeted by what I can only describe as really the squarest, blockiest speaker ever, I was a little bit baffled that this wasn't going to be some kind of round, wacky, wild, circular speaker, because obviously hence the name. So I've never heard of Tibo before and the products that they make, so I couldn't really have been any more wrong about this kind of speaker. And yes, admittedly, I did feel a little bit let down that this speaker wasn't round and weird and wonderful looking. Although I was a little let down that I was faced with this black box, I still found it aesthetically pleasing. It's not a bad looking speaker at all, and I like the fact that the actual interface on the front and the speaker grill around, and it gives a nice juxtaposition to the harsh blockiness of this square speaker. So the speaker itself is actually pretty heavy, which does scream high quality speaker. I mean, most of the time you find on these portable speakers that they're made from plastic. Some of them are made from slightly better materials, but overall they're very light and very easy to carry around. But this actually has quite a substantial weight to it, which really means that this box isn't as hollow as you probably think it is. So the actual wood does feel very high quality and it feels very strong and premium. I mean, that doesn't sound like a hollow box at all, but it's actually covered in this soft touch kind of finish, giving it a smoother look overall. And I think paired with the minimalist design of the actual buttons and the interface on the front here, it does actually look really well made and really premium looking. So you've got the buttons here on the left hand side that are 6 preset channels. That's for the radio. Now you can download the Tibo app, which you can access the internet radio, and you can set 6 favorite presets. You just click 1 through 6 and choose the channel that you want. The buttons on the right are for things like play and pause, skip track and volume change, to change between the different modes, being Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and the auxiliary in. And there's also one on there for power. So the aim of the game for this speaker is Wi-Fi connectivity. Now there's been branding all over the packaging that says it's a Wi-Fi speaker, although it does have Bluetooth and a wired auxiliary input as well that you can use. Wi-Fi is really the main way to go with this speaker. It's technically a multi-room setup, so if you've got several Tibo speakers, being this one or their larger sizes, you can place them in various rooms in your house, and then you can send music from a computer to whichever one of those speakers through wireless streaming. So setting this speaker up was a little bit complicated and a little bit time consuming and fiddly as well. I downloaded the Tibo app to my Samsung S7. The instruction manual I had to get out because it's a wireless speaker and they all have various different ways of connecting to a wireless network. So the instructions told me to power the speaker and then press the WPS button to start searching for wireless networks in my house. Now you have to use it on your 2.4 GHz connection. You can't use it on a 5.0 GHz connection. I don't know why, that's what the instructions and the app walkthrough told me. I plugged it in and this red light started flashing on the front. From here it told me to press the WPS button, so I did. But my phone kept telling me that there was no speaker to be found. Now that was before I realised that there was an on and off button on the front. The instructions didn't tell me that and the app didn't tell me that. So I just assumed that plugging it in powered it straight away. Now I think that's a little bit of an error in the instruction manual, not letting you know what the actual buttons on the front do. Once I realised that the on button was there, it prompted straight away and it told me to connect through voice prompts. It told me to connect to a wireless network, which from there was absolutely seamless. It found the speaker, it found my wireless network, it synced the two together, and Spotify was ready to go from there. If I had known that there was an on button on there, it would have been a lot easier to set up. So I have got one note: you have to set this up to a 2.4 GHz signal through your Wi-Fi. Once the speaker is set up on the network, you can then change back to a 5.0 GHz connection if that's your preference. Like with my phone, for example, I connect to my home broadband using a 5.0 GHz bandwidth. There is that. You don't have to constantly use the 2.4 GHz connection. Now there is one other way you can connect this to your network, and that's through Ethernet ports. So if the speaker's being placed close to a wireless router, then you can wire the two together to have this running off the network. I can't see many people doing that because wireless routers tend to be tucked away in people's houses. In the hallway, for example, there's usually a phone port. If you want to carry this around the house and play it in various different rooms, then you're going to have to set it up on wireless anyway. So I would go with the wireless connection overall. As I said, there is Bluetooth on there, which you can send music straight from a Bluetooth device to the actual speaker itself. Now, there are a number of streaming services that you can use, like Spotify Connect, Tidal I think have one now, and you can even stream from a desktop. So if you've got a music collection and you play your music through Windows Media Player, for example, you can use their built-in streaming to pick up this speaker and then play music directly from a desktop. You can only have one wireless connection to this at any one time. You can play and set it up to multiple computers, but you can only be connected to one computer at any one time. And that's the same with mobile phones as well, as I found with Spotify. If I wanted to play through this speaker, I can only play my Spotify account through this one speaker. I can't then send it off to other speakers as well, so you have to be connected to the one speaker. So if there's one thing that this speaker does absolutely superbly, and that's audio quality. Music sounds extremely full and loud and really punchy, and the lyrics will come through over the top of a track. And you can hear every word that's sung. There is a nice amount of bass that comes through as well. It's not too overpowering. And again, you've got that really punchy bass. It sounds really nice. There's enough bass in there that doesn't distort your music and make it feel really muddy like some speakers could do. Everything sounds really nice and really clear and pristine. Now, the biggest downfall I think with the audio quality of this speaker is the soundstage. Because there's only one speaker firing out of here, it doesn't give you that wide range like a hi-fi would, for example, in stereo sound. The nice thing about this is because this is a multi-room speaker, you can connect several speakers, up to 16 speakers in fact, to one network. If you've got two of these in your living room, you can have one left and one right speaker, and you can set their separate channels, so you can give yourself a really nice wide range hi-fi experience without having the amplifier and two separate bookshelf speakers, for example. Although you haven't, as I say, you haven't got that soundstage that you would get if you had audio from sort of a left and right source, but it does still sound quite full.
Let's see what I can do.
On the back as well, you have got the subwoofer, which does produce that nice amount of bass. It's not very big, it's punchy enough to really not overpower any of your music. Now, the biggest question for me is, I don't know what Tibo are really going for with this speaker. Is it a portable speaker? Is it meant for the home? It's nice that Tibo seem to have ticked all of the boxes, but I think you can get a little bit confused. I think you don't really need a Wi-Fi connection for this, because you've got the carry handle on top and there's a built-in 8-hour battery life. I feel that it's aimed at the more portable market. I don't think many people will be connecting it to their Wi-Fi because it is branded as a portable speaker. I think there will be a lot of people using it for Bluetooth connectivity and to carry it around with them when they go out to various places like the beach or camping or house parties or whatever occasion requires a nice volume and a nice amount of music. Now, it's nice that you've got the Wi-Fi there, and music is certainly feels and sounds a lot clearer and a lot nicer through Wi-Fi than Bluetooth. For the £249 that this speaker is, there are other options out there that would fit more comfortably in a home, maybe even a soundbar, for example. At that kind of price, you could get something like that that will fit in the home a little bit nicer than a portable speaker. But then saying that, people would probably set this up in their kitchen, for example. It could be a very nice kitchen speaker, or even maybe a bedroom unit speaker, to be honest with you. It's not going to fill a living room. It goes very loud, but it hasn't got the quality of some other £250 speakers on the market, even soundbars or small 2.1 home theatre kits, for example. But apart from that, it does sound superb. Once we got over that initial hump with the power on the initial setup, it has turned into a pretty nice speaker. Thank you very much for checking out our review of the Tibo Sphere 2 speaker. If you liked the video, then do hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to keep up with all of our latest tech and gaming videos. Also, leave us a comment below letting us know what you think of the speaker and whether you would invest in one, or whether you would think multi-room speaker. When you think of multi-room speakers, you think of Sonos, for example, or even the Riva 1 series speakers that we checked out not too long ago. As I say, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next review.